All right, 1424 on 7 June. Just getting back on the trail at Harpers Ferry. Just left the Appalachian Trail Conservancy headquarters and got my picture taken and all that. We got something to eat before we got going. And now I'm back on the trail after 9 straight 0 days. No hiking, so there we go. But yeah, it's time to get going. It was interesting. I've already seen a couple of people that I recall bumping into down south that are here. And I looked through the book, and a couple of people that just passed through yesterday. But here in Montes just took off, so now I'm on the way. All right, I just came down these steps here. I remember those from when me and Ia started out on the 1st of March. And here's a sign. That's 18 north going that way. That's 18 south. That's when we headed that way when we started back on the 1st of March. But I'm going this way, and it'll cut through Harpers Ferry, and then I'll cross the river and shortly be in Maryland. This is Jefferson Rock, right over there. Kids climbing all over it. Weathered ruins are all that remains of St. John's Episcopal Church. Built in 1852 with money provided by church fairs, St. John's served as a hospital and barracks during the Civil War and suffered considerable damage. Rebuilt afterward, but was abandoned in 1895 when a new Episcopal church was built in the upper town. This is St. Peter's Roman Catholic Church, right here. It says during the Civil War, to protect the church from Union and Confederate shells, Father Costello flew the British Union Jack flag as a symbol of the church's neutrality, and it escaped the war relatively unscathed. And this is Harper House, the mansion on the hill, right here. Said in 1775, town founder Robert Harper chose this hillside for his home, and it was completed in 1782. He died the same year and never lived here. Harper had no children, left this property to his niece, Sarah. This home was owned by the Swain family for 89 years. The oldest surviving structure in Harpers Ferry, undergone many transformations from tavern, residence, rental property, abandoned ruin to restored exhibit. And I was here at the Conservancy, saw Jefferson Rock, saw St. Peter's Catholic Church, and now I'm heading to cross the bridge. And I have 1,200 miles to go. This little town of Harpers Ferry right here. Okay, this talks about where the AT, the C&O Canal, and the Potomac Heritage Trail all come together. It says cross the bridge. Follow the AT across the bridge to read the C&O Canal towpath, and that splits off to the left, so off in that direction I'm heading. Howdy. Right, there's an old advertisement up in the rocks up top there. And me and Panic did this walk last year. About 6 or 7 out, and then we came back after a night. This is where the C&O Canal and the AT come together. AT goes that way, C&O Canal goes that way. So I'm heading this way. And I'm going to be following the, I think it's still the Shenandoah for a while, till it reaches the Potomac. This is a flat stretch that I'll be walking on for some time. And this is lift lock 33, I guess back in the day when it actually had some boats going through it. And here's a bunch of trails. Potomac Heritage National Scenic Trail is a group of trails. Prince William Forest Park is part of that. Not listed maybe, but yeah, C&O Canal is about 184.5 miles. All flat. And that's where we're at right there. And there's where I'm going. There's a Potomac over there. And this is the canal over here. Looks like cream of asparagus soup in there. Look at the turtles, man. They're kind of camouflaged by the green. At least a couple there. Actually, there's a whole bunch in there. See what this swan is doing. She's barking about something. Oh. It's pretty nice and easy right now. And I think I'm getting close to the Ed Garvey shelter. And as I recall, I think Ed Garvey might have been the second thru-hiker after Earl Schaefer, the World War II vet who did it in 1948, I believe. Could be wrong on that, but Ed Garvey shelter is where we stayed, and it's kind of infamous because the water point is about 0.3 down, and it's way downhill. It's a big, steep decline, and there's lots of comments about that, so it's a place to get water before, if you can. But I haven't seen any water since I've been out here, aside from the Potomac. But there's supposed to be some more water up ahead, so we'll see what the trail provides. And as you can see, it's a beautiful afternoon. It's pretty warm when I was coming, doing that climb, but not too shabby now. Big wall of rocks over there. And I remember seeing something like that when we were down close to Ed Garvey shelter, but I think I'm still pretty much riding the ridge up here. This is a place called Gas Empty Tomb. During the late 19th century, few people bought burial plots in public cemeteries as we do today. Instead, a small parcel of land was usually set aside as a private cemetery. Enough money was available, a mausoleum tomb was often built for certain family members. Gath, concerned with his own burial, built this lonely tomb about 20 years before his death. Came on April 15, 1914 in New York City. By this time, his great wealth had dwindled, and the near penniless Gath was buried in Philadelphia, PA cemetery instead of his own tomb, as he had desired. Gath's empty tomb mutely symbolizes the uncertainties of life, fame, and fortune, and the certainty of death. It's pretty cool. And there we go. Good night, Gath, it says. This area here is Gathland State Park. And a bunch of cool stuff around here. And obviously a lot of stuff happening here in the early days of the Civil War. It's about the Maryland campaign, lost orders, and a bunch of other stuff. State Park, Maryland Park Service, War Correspondence, that memorial up there. And this is pretty cool. May just have to partake of one of these cans of soda here as well. All the ruins here. This is pretty nice. I think I get the last one. It's about 1862 Antietam campaign. And talks about the battle for Crampton's Gap. That's where I'm heading. And then George Townsend, who I guess is a correspondent. And that's what this thing is all about right here. It says AD 1887. Right here, the remnants of this. There's the trail.